today. We're going to be talking about Power Teams or Power Teams 2.0. So the new variation of what kind of the old world would use as a pod or the word pod. Warren's saying in the chat here, first time pod rodeo. Okay, so jump on board. We're going to be talking about it, the good, the bad, and the ugly today, right? And actually why it needs to change. And we'll be changing from here on out. So let me just get up my slide deck and just show you why we're here. So we're talking about this 2.0 Power Teams piece. And our mission here at LinkedIn for Breakfast, just so you know where we're coming from, is to help you basically unlock the full potential of LinkedIn, both from a brand awareness point of view, so more people seeing you, seeing your company, seeing your stuff, seeing your content, and then also as a lead generation piece, so getting your phone ringing and inbox pinging with inquiries. We're going to be more focusing on the brand awareness piece today, that development of the brand to get your content seen more. So that's the game plan with these power teams. But the nice sort of byproduct of what we're going to be talking about today is it could create some really nice referral partners for you. So that's all to be seen. Okay. So the vision of this place, LinkedIn for Breakfast, is to try and make this the best place on earth to learn LinkedIn for free. And we have passed, my friends, the 6,000 person mark in our group. This was last week, and this week, so 5.9 thousand members. And this week, I'm delighted to be able to say, if I just jump on to our wonderful school community, that's the client community. So it's the wrong one. Here you go, LinkedIn for Breakfast. Look, 6,000 members. How exciting is that? 6,011 to be exact. So thank you all for joining and working it through. And I'm sure Flora in this time will actually work through these 5 people who've asked to come into this group now as well. And I'm filter through those to make sure that you're all great. We do filter for people. So this is not just like any old Tom, Dick and Harry that can jump into this group. We do make sure that they are the right sort of people, business owners, people looking to grow their actual LinkedIn profile, people who can add value to others in the group, hopefully not spammers. So we try and make this a safe place for you to be able to share, ask questions and engage. And we run this weekly event and there's a great classroom and community in there. So we're trying to keep on updating this. So do jump into there if you're not in there. And the links that we're going to be talking about today to join these new power teams will be in this group. So if you're not in it, you're not going to win it. Great stuff. So what are we talking about today? So the big shift that we've talked about a few times on this, but if you haven't seen this, if you haven't even heard about it, let's put a 1 in the chat. Have you heard about Brew 360? Give me a 1. If you haven't, give me a 2 in the chat. I'm just interested to see where the general consensus is. Okay, good. So there's quite a few people who haven't, and then quite a few people that have. So this is good. Okay, so we can give you a little bit more of a deep dive on this. Many people will say, kind of in passing, that LinkedIn's reach has reduced. And about November last year, LinkedIn did an algorithm update. The algorithm update was very much switching from an old system, which is around links and keywords, and very much like how Google would sort of rank you, to a new system, which is now around is your profile and the people you're connecting with, and also the content kind of all interlinked, right? Does it make sense? Is it congruent, right? So it's basically prioritizing things like audience relevance, right? So is your content actually relevant to the audience? Instead of just pushing it out to anybody who might be interested in the hashtag leadership, is that content actually relevant? Because it could be leadership for small businesses or it could be leadership for corporate pharmaceutical companies, right? Massively different audience, same keyword. And so that's where this AI piece is coming in and changing it. So it's more intelligent than the kind of old analog way, right? How LinkedIn used to do it is very much like how SEO used to work in the old days, right? So you put keywords and meta tags and title tags and stuff onto your landing page on your website and make sure you use 3 or 4 different keywords in the past and try to link from other sites with the same keyword to that page. LinkedIn was the same, it just used hashtags, right? But that's the old way The new way is making sure that there's congruence between it, right? So we have to have your topical consistency. So what we mean by that is making sure that you are talking consistently about a few topics. Many of you will hear me talk about the 13-week cycle. That's 13 topics that you pin your colors to the mast of and then repeat that cycle of topics 4 times a year, creating a perfect quarterly cycle where you're revisiting content and revisiting topics. The best people who have been around the longest, you know, like people like Jay Abraham, that's like almost kind of being wheeled on stage these days, but even sort of more, you know, up and coming like a Daniel Priestley or what have you, they will they will talk about the same things and they'll loop back to them, loop back to them, loop back to them. And that's because they've got topical consistency. And so that's what LinkedIn wants. It wants to know that the audience is right. You're consistently talking about the same things over and over, just in different ways, obviously. And then the quality of your relationships is important because the quality of the relationships with the people that are seeing your content, are they actually doing anything? Or are they just sitting there gathering digital dust in your long forgotten connection list? Or are they actually engaging with you? Are they seeing stuff? So it's about that quality behind it. And then those clustering. We're going to talk about this network clustering a little bit more today around it. So we're going to come back to that, but it's a cluster of people that are there to support you and having general professional relevance. So this is so important around it. And a lot of people think, well, actually, what should my audience look like? And actually, let me just show you when we think about the Brew 360 thing. So when we start to think about, well, what does the algorithm want to see? What does make sense? And there's the best way for me to do this is to show you a kind of lopsided Venn diagram, right? And so bear with me while we do this. So the top bit, wait, God, um, um, my drawing is a bit drunk this morning, right? So 60% of this Venn diagram, this needs to be your target audience, okay? Your actual, the focal point, the audience that you want to be able to get clients from, right? So 60% of your audience needs to be that. Then you need to have 20% of your audience that is kind of around partners, right? And so partners is people such as software companies that might serve the 60%, service companies that might serve the 60%, other kind of relationships. So if there's trade shows that are set up for the 60%, you want to be connected with them. You want to be connected with magazines and editors of those magazines that serve the 60%. Can you see it would make total sense if you are a thought leader in your industry, you would be connected to those types of people. So it wants to see that 20% in there, right? And then the other 20% is your peers. Okay. Now, this might sound counterintuitive, but if you are a thought leader in your space, you will hang out with other people who are also got something interesting and intelligent to say within that space because you're curious as a thought leader. And so, therefore, you would naturally have your peers as your connections, but not just, you know, the kind of bottom feeding type peers. That's a horrible way of saying it, but do you know what I mean? Like new people into the industry who haven't really got much to say. You would be making sure that you're connected to the upper echelons of the thought leadership space within your industry, right? It's that kind of, you know, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So make sure that you are, your 20% are the sort of 20% that push you within your industry, the best type of people, right? So this is how a perfect Brew 360 audience should be set up. And people go, oh my God, well, my kind of connections look nothing like that. And so this is where it does start to create the potential for you to actually cut people. Now here, I think you can probably start to see is maybe the glimmer of the problem that a traditional pod, hands up, like the ones that we've been running, comes in. Because if you think that your content and your posting on your LinkedIn, and suddenly it's not this type of audience that's liking sharing your stuff, it's some random ones over here that is just a general thing. Can you see how that might be an issue? So let me let me kind of add a little bit more flesh on the bone for this for you. Okay. So that's what it wants to see, right? So this is the big shift. And then when we, oh, sorry, and by the way, just before we do that, if anybody kind of wants to see me really go deep on this, I've got a Brew 360 classification tool, which will help you to be able to work upon your LinkedIn profile to make sure your LinkedIn profile is set up correctly for what LinkedIn wants to see in terms of how your profile set up. So this is a great little AI tool. I'll put it into the chat here. Just click on it and have it open into a new window. Flora, can we make sure that we add this tool and the form that I mentioned previously below the replay of this when we put it into the community in school, please? So there's a nice one for you to play with after this, gang. So that will help you with your Brew 360. So but I'm going to give you some real lovely context here. So most engagement pods are now broken. Now, the typical pod behavior is hundreds of people liking and sharing each other's posts using soulless types of AI comments, that aren't really reading the content, aren't really understanding. Okay. Now, there's nothing wrong with using AI to be able to help you with your commenting, right? But if it just feels so bland, we've all seen them, then it doesn't work. Or you might be doing like a two-step post and you'll say, comment the words dashboard below and I'll send you a free dashboard. And then suddenly someone's giving us a really long form, winded comment. And it just doesn't kind of work with all the rest of the comments. So it's trying to really work upon these comments to make sure they work well. Here's a super tip, gang. I actually use WisprFlow when I'm doing my commenting. This is just kind of an interesting by the by, really. But if I wanted to kind of optimize and do things quickly, there's this great cool app here, WisprFlow. And in fact, actually, if you want to, here you go. You can get me a free month, and you can have a free month by actually signing up and having a play with this. Here, Flora, could we make sure we add this into the link as well? But the reason why I love this, and you can just try it out for free, if you go onto your comments and people and you want to comment on a post, I can just go and quickly read the post, scroll down, scroll down to the comment piece, and I can say, yes, really love what you said about this. In fact, I remember when I was working with a client and I got XYZ story and it was working really great. Bam, like this. And then straight away, it just comments that. Now, the nice thing about WhisperFlow, it's not just like a transcribing, it's just a keyword. So I go shift in the Windows key on my keyboard. I just talk and I press it, and it will punctuate, it will add bullet points if I list things, it will put inverted commas if I'm quoting people. So it does all the punctuation stuff. And for someone like me who can't spell for the life of me, it's a unbelievable hack. But anyway, that's by the by. So it's about trying to get those comments and working it properly. But the challenge currently is that you'll see a lot of pods that aren't either doing soulless AI comments or are just going nice post. And so they're not engaging. And when we talk about engagement, but what that means is when people are sharing a post and other people are liking and commenting on that post to be able to get the reach, right? And maybe I should just sort of backtrack on that piece because I think we need to give some context on why doing let me just get rid of this, why a pod on LinkedIn works or why some sort of engagement power team works. Because regardless of how we're trying to do this, you still have this thing with a LinkedIn life cycle, right? So this is engagement, and then this is time. Okay. So what happens with the post is that when you start to post, you get this window here where it will be testing it with a percentage of your audience. And if you don't get any engagement, then your post life will look like this and it will die. Whereas in the first kind of hour, if you can get up to a certain place with engagement because you're getting likes and comments on your post in a short amount of time, what LinkedIn will do in the first wave, it will allow you to go and see. And what you'll see is it will then plateau because LinkedIn's just kind of calibrating how this post is looking, and it will see, oh, actually, yes, this is worth it. So it will then, this is kind of your first degrees. So people who are connected to you, it tests them with that. If it gets engagement, Then it sees that, and then it will give you this next hype. And then this piece is usually, most of the time, this is going out to second degrees. Okay, so those are the connections of your connections. So this is other first degrees plus second degrees, right? In this second wave. And then you'll see it plateau again, and then suddenly it will go off to the moon, right? And this piece is where it hits your third degree plus second plus still more of your first because if you've got 20,000 connections, you'll need to have this wave and you're still getting first degree connections in this third cycle, this third generation of your post. Now, some posts never make it to this top line because you just don't get that spike. So a power team can be a selection of complementary people who can help to like and comment on your stuff in the first hour or so of your post, which then gets you up to this line that gives you this additional boost from LinkedIn. And then hopefully the quality of your post and the engagement of your audience will then work this other piece. So kind of a power team, or traditionally how a pod used to work, can get you kind of to here, but it can't necessarily get you to here. Your quality, your post and your audience gets you there, right? Does that make sense? So that's the life cycle of a post. So we need to make this work well. And so we can help to give it a bit of a boost, give it a little bit of legs. And this has been tried and tested for ages. And we used to always do it with a blend of people, and we just like and share people's posts at the start, and then that would help. But the issue now with the Brew 360 is if you have not got an audience overlap, or there's no obvious commercial relationship between you, if you've got some sort of vet who's liking and commenting on your leadership for corporates, thing, it's not obvious. There's no kind of reason for it. And so the algorithm's intelligent enough to then not reward that in the same way as it used to. So this is the problem, right? So we just don't want to create these kind of artificial engagement patterns that don't make sense. We need to make them make sense, even though that we can slightly kind of enhance it from a kind of awareness piece. Basically, we're going to try and create awareness of your post for the people that would like and comment on it, even if they're not actually on LinkedIn at that moment in time. That's kind of the game plan, right? Good. So the Brew 360 rewards ecosystem consistency. Okay. So this is the last kind of meaty slide for you, but I just wanted to give you some context. Okay. So LinkedIn looks beyond those likes, comments, and impressions, and instead, who engages, what industries they belong to, how often they engage. So actually, is this kind of like a one-off thing, or are you kind of have a bit more of an audience that comes with you? Because let's face it, if you are an authority or if you're an influencer, you have regulars that will consume your stuff and comment on your stuff because that is naturally natural. Some people go, oh, if it's the same people commenting on my stuff all the time, it looks unnatural. It's like, no, actually, if you are an influencer, you will find people who are mega fans who do like and comment on your stuff, or you will find suppliers. For example, a lot of my clients, I'm always liking and commenting on their stuff because they're my clients and I want to see their stuff do well, and it makes sense for me to comment on it because a lot of them have audience overlap as well. So it makes sense from a Brew 360 point of view. Okay. Um, if conversations continue, so does that mean that it's not just like a message and then there's no reply? So if I comment on someone's post and they don't comment back to me, that actually will not do them a service. It will do them a disservice on their post. So if I post out a great piece of content and I get 20 comments, I need to make 20 replies happen. And even better still, hopefully 10 of them reply back to my reply. And so that's proving that conversation is happening in the comments because it's far better to look after a post than try and post another post. One great post that's well manicured can create tons of leads. I can show you this in real time, right? So if I show you some of my best performing posts, And let's just look over the last year. So we've had, well, coming up to nearly 1.6 million impressions over the last year. And some of them have been from great posts like this. So this is like 150,000 impressions, 2,000 engagements. And the comments here, we will be going back. So people are saying yes, and we're going back and we're commenting and we're going back and we're working it and we are liking and we are replying to people because we are making sure that the comments. Now, these in this instance, people are asking comment yes if they want the thing, and we're going back to them and say yes, it's sent. So we're not just sending it, we're saying, hey, we've sent it, check your direct message, and people are saying thank you. So it's like that back and forth. If we didn't look after this post, we would never have got this sort of engagement. We looked after it. It's not a clever post, it doesn't have that much, but we made sure by design that we were on there to be able to like and comment, and Ugo and my team have been doing that. Okay. So that's why it's so super, super important. Cool. So this is why it works. Now let me kind of show you this diagram. Um, you want to think about this. So that's just a recap, and then I'll give you an example, and then we're going to introduce how you could get involved with our teams. So you've got to think about your profile. Your profile has to talk to your one core audience. LinkedIn is no longer a two hat wearing, three hat wearing place. If you are trying to sell to two very different audiences, then you will struggle. I think I had a chat with someone on Monday about this, and so they're trying to sell to commercial as well as to consumer, and it just is completely different conversations about trying to sell a leadership training program into corporate versus trying to get individuals to pay for their leadership training program directly. It's just different conversations, even though it's the same thing. It's far better to pick one and go deep on it. Now, we have clients who may be multiple serial entrepreneurs, right? The Richard Bransons in the making, right? Two or three different businesses. I understand that. That's cool. There's a time in my life I was like that as well. I'm very much the power of one now. Sell the one thing. That's what I'm all about. But I understand. So what you can do is that you can become kind of the brand, a personal brand, and then you can talk about all your different businesses, but don't expect to have the best reach on your content because you are blending them across different audiences. And so you just don't get that consistency or congruency. However, the hack for us would be say, name one person in each one of those businesses who you are going to do a LinkedIn campaign for, and that one person owns one audience and one company and goes after that. And so then the kind of mini, serial entrepreneurs that we work with, they then have three or four different people within their portfolio, and each individual person will have a LinkedIn campaign going out to their individual audiences. So that's super important to be able to do that. So if you haven't got that set up, then pick one, pick one, and just make your whole LinkedIn all about it. And don't make the mistake of having two LinkedIn profiles because you'll just get banned. Okay. It just doesn't work. You can't have Richard Woods, and he does corporate here, and Richard Woods, who does, his side hustle over here. It will see both. It will see that you're logging in through one IP address into the two accounts, and it will just ban both. Even though you've had one account for 20 years and this account for only 2 months, it will just wipe out both, and then you've got to spend months trying to get LinkedIn to actually talk to you to get it back. So please do not set up a new one. I can see Flora laughing there, not necessarily laughing, but a smile coming out the side of her mouth because she's had to work with clients for ages to help them to rescue accounts where they haven't told us that they've set up a side hustle and a new account, and then suddenly everything gets banned, which was fun. But please don't do that because it takes lots of time. So here's the example. So get your profile aligned to your one audience, get your content going out to that one audience, and then you've got your engagement or network. So this is the power team that can help you to be able to push this. So let's look at this example of a financial advisor here. Your content, right, could be around exits, wealth strategy, tax planning, retirement planning, succession, right? So those are your kind of core themes. You talk about those 13 weeks, right? And then one core audience, so that kind of founders and business owners and executives preparing to have an exit because that's what they are a specialist in. They want to work with business owners who are going to exit, right? So that's their game plan. And so their engagement network would be like mergers and acquisitions advisors, accountants, tax specialists, exit planners, lawyers, wealth managers, business coaches, because that becomes a perfect network of people who are also overlapping with that audience and would make sense for them to be interested in what you say and you'd be interested in what they say, but you're not necessarily competitive. Even though the odd person who is a competitor actually is not too much of a problem, because remember we talked about having that peers as well. Okay. So let me introduce to you our Power Teams 2.0. So we call this kind of clusters, right? So we want to have this kind of Power Team type clusters where you've got these share audiences, these complementary services, this natural reference flow. So it makes sense. And there's, sorry, reference, referral flow. That's a key one. This is like a lovely byproduct. There's potential referrals before around this. So you could be referring businesses within your power team, which would be a great one for actually helping with business, and then also liking and commenting. And it's a really good way to learn what people are all about by seeing their content and therefore making you feel comfortable to be able to refer them. So that helps. Hey, we also talked about potentially even other things such as why not do joint webinars with people in your power team? So if you're going back to the example here, you could easily have, if you're a financial advisor, you could do a joint webinar with maybe an M&A advisor. So you could say, well, look, this is, the way that you would maybe deal with your finances after exit, and this is how you would get to exit. And it would be a perfect like joint webinar. And you could both share your audiences, both invite people along to it, both host it, and then you can share the spoils afterwards. So it's a real kind of interesting model here, gang. Okay, so there's also this thing about mutual authority building. So you're building everybody else's authority in the power team. So then the quality goes up, and so your reach goes up, your following goes up, and then really you can kind of help people, right? So this is the game plan. So here's how you get involved, right? I've got two links here for you to have a look at. So one, we have put together 10 power teams. 10 power teams, and then we're asking the community. So these are the 10 power teams that we see as being power teams that would work well together. There may be two or three on here that you think that you would like to be in. I'm just going to ask you, and the form that we're going to ask you to fill out will only allow you to apply for one, but I want to give you this file as an explanation of what they are. Okay, so I'm going to share this first of all in the chat. Obviously, Flora, could you make sure you keep these links for when we share it out publicly? So these are the Power Teams explanations. So look through this and you'll see here we've given what the core audience might be, and then the ideal power team who might be in here and why it works. And then you can see here, so we've got high growth service businesses, we've got professional practice, so that's your accountants, solicitors, etc., etc. That's what we're trying to target. Healthcare authority, so these are people that we're trying to go into. B2B corporate sales, so then recruitment and talent. So this is who we're trying to get out to, right? So there's a load in there. So to have a look at those. And then the second thing is, then we want you to use this form here to apply to actually join. So I'm going to say apply to join a power team here. And I'm putting this in the chat. If you're watching this on the live stream, just comment below, can I have the links, please? And we'll then message them over to you as well. And Flora, if we can actually look at the YouTube stream that's happening live now and try and get some of these on there, that'd be great as well. So when you get onto this, so here, sorry, if people say links, please, on the chat here, the links are above. I've just put them into the chat. So the ones above, if you're on Zoom now, just above, it's the links. Okay. So I've just put them above. So don't ask in the chat here. But if you're watching on the live stream, then Flora, if we can just get it below the YouTube on the live stream. Yeah. Um, so this is the form. And so it's just a simple form, I'm not nothing crazy, but we'll need to get your name in here, your phone number, making sure your dial code to it's your WhatsApp phone number. So these power teams, we see them as being WhatsApp groups, and in those WhatsApp groups, people will share the post that they need engagement with, and then we'll like and share that comment. We'll comment and like and share on those posts. Okay. And within those power teams, you can make a decision whether or not you want to allow for that to be happening each day, or if you just want to have 1 or 2 days a week where you just do it. That's going to be down to the power team and how they want to work it. I'm in current different power teams, and we just post links in there, and we can like and comment on those. And some of us let our VAs go into there and actually do the liking and commenting for us within those WhatsApp groups. So those are all things that you can make decisions upon within the community. All right. So you want to put your email, your phone number, your LinkedIn profile, because we're going to match you. So we're going to look and make sure we got the right people in the right groups. Not all groups and not all people will get into different groups, so please apologies in advance for that. But we're just making sure that they're not massive, but they are power clusters. Got a website in there, and then this is the big one. Work out which one of these you want to go for, and then if you're not sure if it doesn't work for you, select other, and then apply, add in here which type of power team you'd like. And if there's enough people that are similar, we will put you together into a power team. Now, what this means for us is that you see on LinkedIn for Breakfast, we've tried to do this a little bit in the past where we'll have a pod here for B2C and B to small business, and people will like and comment on that. And we've also have a pod here for B to corporate, and we've had people liking and commenting on here. So what we'll be doing in the future is we will then be promoting the power teams and reminding people for the liking and commenting on the power teams on the Tuesday, and just sort of reminding people that's how it works. So new people would have the opportunity to see what power teams are all about and get involved with that. So this is what we'll do in terms of the school community, and then we'll be looking to then filter people into WhatsApp groups so they can get the comments and the likes and stuff happening in those WhatsApp groups. That's because we want to lock in. We don't want to open these power teams up to people who aren't in your right cluster. So that's why we're doing it a little bit more on the WhatsApp side. So just be aware of that it will be very much filtered through that. Cool. So apply for those, get your stuff into those links. If you've got problems finding those links, getting into that, please just comment below, and we will be working through with you. But in the meantime, let's roll into some questions and just get a bit of feedback and thoughts, gang. So into the room, we've got Ryan in here. How many would you recommend in a power group, so cluster? I'm not sure, because I don't think that everybody will comment and like on everybody's posts. And so I do think we need to have a bit of relative volume in there. I don't think it's a problem to have people that are sort of 20 to 30 people in a power cluster. I think that would work quite nicely. And if it's going really well, then maybe slightly bigger than that. Remember, we do want to get the likes and comments working. So if you think about your average post, how many likes and comments does it get? A lot of people that are on this might get naturally like 5 or 6 comments would feel good. So what if you got 20 great comments from people that are perfectly aligned? That would then help to top up an extra 5 or so, which you get organically anyway, which then really makes that post stand above other stuff. But if you've got some other people who are, for example, I'm in a group where most of the people there have got over 100,000 followers. They've got huge amounts of kind of, power team WhatsApp groups, because they need to get really high very quickly because they've got a big audience, right? So it's a little bit around that. So super important. Cool. So feel free if you've got a question, by the way, and you want to actually answer it on here, and we could go back and forth. Use the react button so we can use that like raise hand thing, so we can see across there. So it'd be good to actually talk to people if they're asking questions. In the meantime, so we'll go. We'll just quickly do. Yes, Paul, go for it.
Hello, Richard. Can you hear me? I just wondered how you felt about using AI to write comments. If you're in a power team with 20, 30 people, is it okay to just sort of create a profile on AI and get the AI to write comments for you? You copy and paste them in.
Yeah, so in terms, there's kind of two different ways to do it. So I wouldn't have an AI agent doing it like on some sort of automation piece, which you have no control of. So that would be a no-no because the comments wouldn't be there. If you look at someone's post and then have a read of it and then want to just do a little bit more with your comment using AI, then fine, as long as you're checking it before you go in. But if it's just bland, generic, copied and paste stuff that means nothing, then we need to kind of self-police these groups and just say, look, hey, I'd rather you not comment than actually comment something that looks very AI because the we're trying to make this authentic. It's probably best to have just a shorter one line than try and have some of these larger AI comments. And so we're training our VA teams to also do this. They will be coming better equipped with the way that they comment if people are using our VAs. And we are also trying to help other people within our wider community, obviously LinkedIn for Breakfast community, etc., to try and work it a little bit more authentically. Again, Paul, it's actually quicker for me to use WisprFlow to comment than it is to actually copy someone's post, stick it into ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT to make a comment, copy it, stick it back. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I've already said it by the time I've done that. So if I can read a post and go, oh, that was pretty cool. I really liked what you said about this. I'll check it out and I just say it. One, it's going to sound authentic. Two, it is authentic. And three, it took me less time. So I feel like that's the way we want to go. Or certainly the way that I want to work with them. So guys, there's a few people on here as well asking. So these power teams, we're going to help and we're going to put these together and you'll be getting an email back from us when you apply this week, and we'll start to put those together by Friday. If you are a little bit unsure about how this Brew 360 thing happens in your profile and a little bit unsure on exactly where your journey should start. And if you're a bit nervous about, oh, I'm not quite sure about these power teams, or I just want to talk to someone, we offer a free LinkedIn profile audit, one to one with one of my team. It's totally free. We'll go over your LinkedIn profile. We'll tell you what needs to be improved, how we can be able to do that, what challenges you might be having currently on LinkedIn, what things you should change on it. So this free LinkedIn profile audit is a real win for people. We love doing them. It gives us a great insight into you and the business. And so let me just get this link for you. Here we go. Perfect. So here you go. I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat. But you can see here we look at your headline, your profile. We help you maximize your recommendations, your lead generation, getting your experience looking right in your LinkedIn profile. So book into one of these here. There's not many available each week. So click on that. Have this open, and then you can see tomorrow there's 3 opportunities to grab one, and there's 3 opportunities on Friday to grab an appointment. So jump onto those and book in. Henna said she had a really great one with Jay, which was fantastic. Oh, I'm pleased, thank you. So do jump onto these. These are great free opportunities for you to have your profile audited. Cool. Further questions? Feel free to put the digital hand up and ask a question like Paul very kindly did. Use that reaction button and raise the hand. I'm happy to answer the questions. I'll keep on trying to filter through the chat. There's quite a lot in there, so it's a bit difficult. I might miss your question. So the best way to fast track is to put that hand up. So Sue says, I've had a profile review, but I'm not at all sure which power group is relevant. So two ways of doing it. So one, go onto this power team document here, have a read through them, see which one kind of works for you. Then obviously go onto the form and fill it in and find that here. If you still are unsure, press other and then just say why you're unsure and what you think might work better. Because there may well be other clusters that we could create that would work better for you. So that would be the process that I would take from there. Lovely. We got Sarah here who's just put her hand up. So Sarah, over to you.
Hi, Richard. I'm fairly new to this group, and have been on the past couple of presentations, but I'm a little bit unsure that are we supposed to be going online and commenting on the posts that are being put up on LinkedIn? Are we supposed to be doing that already, or is this new power group thing just for that specifically?
Yeah, so the we were running, or we including this week, we run these engagement pods where people like and comment on these posts, and so it's a great way of being able to generate more reach on your posts through that. But that's kind of the old way because it could be anybody posting those. So that was always available. You don't have to do any of this. Remember, this is a free community, so nobody's coming to tell you off if you don't do stuff. The power teams create a smaller cluster, and that really is a support community and a network. And if you are going to play in the power teams, then we do ask you to obviously play. Don't just don't lurk, because if you're not active in them, then those spaces is better off than swapping you out for someone else that would obviously like and share on people's comments. Now, it doesn't have to be every single one, and people are busy. I understand that, but yeah, having a fair crack at it every now and again is important. So that's the game plan for LinkedIn. So please do play on those. But again, none of this is compulsory. You don't
So,
need to.
so can I just add to that question then? In that case, you've got to make sure that obviously you've got to apply to go into the power groups, but that's even more reason to make sure that those power groups or pods are, even more relevant to your to what would be a peer group, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is that they're in there, and it's a group of people that have come together to be able to help each other be able to grow on LinkedIn. And actually, there's a nice comment on here from Jay who says it's his first attendance of this group. What's the cost, please? And LinkedIn is the best place on earth to learn LinkedIn. LinkedIn for Breakfast is the best place on earth to learn LinkedIn for free. This is a free group. This is another free thing that we're putting on to be able to help everybody to be able to grow and raise their profile. Yeah, what's my sinister plan? We provide virtual assistants. So if anybody does need any help with any of this stuff and they want to have a VA, and the cost of our VAs is £5 an hour. We're very transparent with that. My business is sprintva.co. If anybody wants to have a look, I mean, I'll stick it in the chat, sprintva.co. This is my business. So, but LinkedIn for Breakfast, like the community, the power teams, everything, the courses, there's no cost. It's just no cost at all. The whole point of this is that the more we can help each other, the more we can grow, the better it is. And I know that LinkedIn is the most powerful place for you to be able to generate leads from a business perspective. It's the best business to business network in the world. So the better thing for us to do is to get together and actually be able to support each other. And so this is just another way of doing that. So I hope in these power teams that you start running events together. You start referring each other's businesses to each other, work on clients together. There's so much potential that can happen in this. If we get this right, I think this could be really, really cool. Right, who else has got a question before we finish? If you're shooting off, lovely to see you, by the way. Every Wednesday, 9 a.m., we do these sessions. But I'm happy to. Oh, Alan says, when will the power teams post? Now, I think this is down to the power team. So I'm part of groups that will just share their posts when they are ready, and then people will like and comment there. The only issue there is that what happens is the power team tends to be active at a certain time, and then if you post later than that, then you might miss that person's kind of LinkedIn time. So sometimes it could be quite good to say, hey, let's try and all post our links to our new posts in the morning, and then we'll all like and share for an hour or so, and then we're done. Or you might have other power teams that say, hey, let's just do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 o'clock, so we can always know that we'll book those into our diaries and work on each other. I think this is going to be down to the power team to decide on how they want to work, and what type of people are working within those. For me, I quite like the idea of just having a bit more of an open agenda and just saying, let's just all try and post in the morning, and then we'll all be able to be online and be able to help each other. So the nice thing is that you can post your content and like and share everybody else's content and then go again. Right. So that's the game plan. Great stuff. Loving the collab mindset. Great stuff. People got to go. Any final questions? Any final questions before we close for today? No, love this. Okay, good stuff. So do remember, you've got this booking link if you want to have a one-to-one LinkedIn profile audit. Please jump on that. Just put it into the chat. Great. Henry says you have your onboarding later. Oh, welcome. Of course. Looking forward to meeting you. Yeah, I personally do all the Kickstart sessions at the moment with new clients. So if you're jumping on board, we'd have a one-to-one to do all that sort of stuff as well if you're getting a VA in there. Okay, great. Let's leave it there, gang. Lovely to see you. And I'll catch you all on the flip side. So this has been LinkedIn for Breakfast. And we look forward to seeing these power teams really rocking and rolling. Cheers all. Take care. See you on the